Changes in public policy many times are facilitated by single events with far-reaching impact. Unsuspecting citizens are suddenly thrust into horrific situations that call out to them for matchless influence. Our next award recognizes two parents who changed public policy for all in their quest for justice in the loss of their daughter.
In 2002, Robert read an article about Arizona Voice for Crime Victims in the newspaper, and he was interested in what Arizona Voice for Crime Victims did, which is essentially assist victims in the criminal process and advocate for victims in the criminal courts. And he picked up the phone and called and said, "I want to help. I love what you do. How can I help?" Little did we know that he would again become a victim of crime himself, and his daughter Heather was brutally murdered at Christmas time. The two that came in and did this shooting and this homicide were a father and son duo. The father, Larry Carver, went home to his wife and said, "I just killed two people," confessed what he'd done, and said, "I need to get out of here," and packed up his stuff and left the state. Back then, there was something called marital privilege, which meant if a spouse confessed what they did, they would not have to be compelled to tell what they did in court. Mrs. Carver, Larry Carver's wife, at that point elected to refuse to talk about it in court, and under the law was completely okay doing that. Robert and Terry said, "This isn't good enough, this isn't fair, we have to change the law," and went to the legislature. And so they testified before the committee and wanted it to be called Heather's Law in honor of their daughter, which they did. I remember the day when it came out, and it was just fantastic because finally they were going to be able to see justice for what had happened to Heather. And I remember telling this to an advocate, just their story, and I remember her crying. And she said, "I'm so honored to meet you." And she said, "You have no idea how you've changed other cases for other victims." And it touched my heart because she was so heartfelt, genuinely thankful. And I know Robert and Terry are aware that it opened the door for a lot of other cases, and it made a difference to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the 2013 Distinguished Service Award for Public Policy are TDendulk and RQuan of Arizona Voice for Crime Victims.